Hello everyone, welcome to PeopleSoft channel where we simplify PeopleSoft concepts in everyday language. My name is Samir and in this video we will discuss how to source a requisition into a PeopleSoft purchase order. So there are many methods to create a PO out of requisitions. However, we will discuss the three most commonly used methods such as how to select the requisition manually and source it into a purchase order. Then we will see how to use the add update option for the purchase order and create a PO by copying a requisition. And finally, we will see how to use the PO auto source process in order to source multiple requisitions at once into PeopleSoft purchase orders. Then we will also observe what are the PO staging tables which are affected during the process and what are the PO main tables which stores the data once the POs have been generated. Finally, we will perform the budget check on one of the PO and we will dispatch the PO from PeopleSoft to its supplier. So without any delay, let's get started. So in the first method, we will see how to select a requisition manually and source it into a PO. So as you can see, we have this requisition. It is in approved status and it has a valid budget. This requisition has two lines on it. So let's see how to source this requisition into a purchase order. In order to do that, we need to go to this navigation, purchasing, purchase orders, stage source request, and here we need to select requisition selection. So a page will be open like this, and here you need to provide the details of the requisition which you want to source. So in our case, let's provide the requisition ID. So let's click on search, and as we do search, you can see we have these two lines available from this requisition. All right. So in order to source these two lines into a purchase order, let's select these two lines and click on save. Now what we just did is we staged these two requisitions so that it will be processed into a PeopleSoft purchase order. That means now in the PO staging tables, we will have the data for these requisition. So once the requisition has been staged for processing, its data will be loaded into the PO staging tables. So we have three main PO staging tables. The first one is PSPO item stage. This will contain the line details and the shipping details for all the lines of a requisition. The second table is PSPO distrib stage. This will contain the accounting details or distribution details for all the lines of a requisition. And the third table we have is PSPO header stage. So some of the online process might use this table in order to stage the data, in order to load the staging data, but it is not the case that this table will always have the staging data. All right, so now let's see what data do we have for our requisition. So if I run this query on the PSPO item stage by passing our requisition ID, you can see that this is our requisition ID. We have the two lines and the stage status is S. That means our requisition has been staged for processing. The PO ID is unassigned because we have not run the PO creation process yet, and this is the PO stage ID. So this ID will be used in order to generate the PeopleSoft purchase order. Similarly, the process instance is C. That means these lines have not yet been processed by the PO creation process. Once it has been processed, this will have the particular process instance. Similarly, if I run the query on the PSPO distrib stage table in order to see the staging data, you will see we have the data for the distribution lines for this requisition, and the stage status, as you can see, is staged. Now let's run the PO creation process. So in order to do that, we will continue the process from the requisition selection page, and we have the create PO option here. So let's click on it. So this will open the PO auto sourcing process, which is responsible for sourcing the eligible requisitions into a PeopleSoft purchase order. Now you can select the criteria using which you want to select the requisitions. So for now, I will say approved requisition and stage requisitions. All right. So let's run the process. So you can see PO auto source. This is the process. So let's run it. Let's check the process in the process monitor. So the process has been completed successfully. So let's check the log. As you can see, we have two stage rows selected for processing and the two stage rows completed without any error. That means we have our requisition with two lines which has successfully generated a PO. So let's check the PO creation now. In order to do that, we will come back to manage requisition page. Let's give a refresh. And now if you see, the status for our requisition is PO created. All right. So if you want to check the PO details, you can click on this button and now you will have this option here, purchase order. So if you click on it, you will see the PeopleSoft purchase order for this requisition. So one observation here, for this requisition, we have two PO IDs created. So if I click on view all, you will see this is the first PO ID and this is the second PO ID. Why? This is because we have two different items. This is item 1 and this is item 2, which are being ordered from the different supplier. If you see, this is the supplier ID from the first line and this is the supplier ID from the second line. This is the reason we have two different POs created. However, they both belong to the same requisition. So if you want to check the PO details, you can navigate to this navigation, which is purchasing, then purchase order, and you can click on this review PO information page if you want to check the details of the POs. And then let's select the purchase orders. All right, let's give the PO ID. This is the PO ID. So if you click on search, then we have this purchase order. You can say that the PO status is approved and the budget is not checked. So at the end of this video, we will perform the budget check operation on one of the PO and also we will dispatch the PO. All right, so let's check the status of this requisition in the staging tables. So if I run the query on the PSPO item stage for a given requisition, you can see now the stage status has been changed to C, that means completed. All right, and we also have the process instance using which the PO was generated for this requisition. This is the same process instance as this. So you can identify during which instance the requisition was sourced into a PeopleSoft PO. All right, and we also have the PO ID which is generated. Similarly, you can find the details in the second staging table, which is PSPO descript stage. If you run the query, you will have stage status and as C, the process instance through which it was processed, and all the other relevant details. Now let's check the PO main tables. So these are the four main tables for a PeopleSoft purchase order. These are PO header, PO line, PO line ship, and PO line distrib. So if you observe, the structure is very similar to a requisition. So let's run the query for one of the PO which is generated out of this requisition. So this is the PO header table, and as you can see, the PO status is A, that means it is approved, and you can also see the reference. This is online source from requisitions. This is the requisition ID which we used to generate this purchase order. Similarly, if you query the line table, you will have all the line details, that means the item level details for this purchase order. If you run this query on the line ship table, you will have all the shipping details for all the lines on the purchase order. And in the end, we have the line distrib table, which will have the distribution details or the accounting level details for all the lines on a given purchase order. So this was the first method of how to manually source a requisition into a PeopleSoft purchase order. Now let's discuss the second method. So in the second method, we can use the add update PO option from the purchasing module in order to create a PO out of a requisition. So let's say we have this requisition which is in approved status and has a valid budget. So let's create a purchase order for this requisition. So let's go to this navigation, purchasing, purchase orders, add update POs. So here we will select the add a new value option. We will select the business unit which we require and we will have this PO ID as next. Then we will click on add button. So now we can create a purchase order from here. But here we need to create a purchase order out of a requisition. So let's provide the requisition details which we can use in order to create a purchase order. So for that, first we need to give the supplier details. So let's give the supplier ID. And now you see we have a copy from option here. So if you click on this drop down, we have multiple options, but the one with which we will go is this requisition. And here now we will provide the requisition using which we need to create a PO. So let's get the requisition ID and let's provide the requisition ID here. If we click on search, then you can see we have the lines of this requisition available here. So let's select the line. In case your requisition has multiple lines, those will be available here. And let's click on copy to PO option. So now as you can see, we have copied all the details from a requisition into a purchase order. You can see the lines here. By all details, I mean the details across lines, ship and distrib. Alright, so let's click on save. And as the saving process is completed, you can see a PO ID has been generated here. That means we have successfully created a PO out of a requisition. The PO status is approved because the requisition was already in the approved status. So if you go back to the manage requisition page, if you just refresh the page, now you can see the status for this requisition is PO created. So this is how we can create a PO by copying the requisition using the add update PO button. So now let's check the third method. So in the third method, we will see how to source multiple requisitions at once using the PO auto source process. So imagine that you are working in an organization in which there would be multiple procurement analysts. So every day they might create requisitions, and by the end of the day, your department might have multiple requisitions which are eligible to convert them into a purchase order. In order to achieve that, we will use the PO auto source process, which will convert all the eligible and approved requisitions into their respective purchase order. So to illustrate this point, I have created 4 requisitions. If you can see, these are the 4 requisitions. The request status is approved. That means these requisitions are approved, and also they have a valid budget check. Now let's see how to use the PO auto source process in order to convert them into purchase order. So in order to use the PO auto source process, we need to follow this navigation. We will go to purchasing, then purchase orders, then stage source request, and here we will select PO auto sourcing. We need to provide a valid run control ID. In this case, let's select this run control ID, and you will see a page opening like this for PO auto sourcing. So Here you can see create purchase orders from, and there are a bunch of available criteria. By default, we are going with the approved requisitions and staged requisitions. That means those requisitions which are approved and staged will be considered for PO creation. Now, if you go to this options tab and if you check this options requisition selection criteria, here you can specify what are the requisitions, what are the specific requisitions you want to source into POs. For example, you might give a specific business unit that you need to source only those requisitions belonging to a certain business unit, or you might use a set of requisitions or a range of requisitions. For example, requisition number 100 to requisition number 110. In that case, those requisitions will be selected, or you might select a particular contract or a requester. So you can select the criteria you want, and those requisitions which satisfy those criteria will be selected. In our case, we won't give any criteria, so that all the requisitions which are available and which are eligible will be converted into a purchase order. So let's click on this run button, and if you see, this is the process PO auto source, which is responsible to convert the requisitions, the approved requisitions, into PeopleSoft purchase orders. So let's run this process. Let's check into the process monitor. As you can see, the process is currently in queued status. Let's wait till the process is completed. And the process has been completed successfully. Let's check the details, and if we check the message log, we can see 6 stage rows have been selected for processing and 6 stage rows completed without any error. Now here we have total of 4 requisitions, and we had a total of 9 lines across these 4 requisitions, but here only 6 lines has successfully processed into PO. So if you check the status, if you go back to this requisition page and if you hit the refresh, now you can see the status. For the first 2 requisitions, we have successfully created POs. However, for the last 2 requisitions, we have POs partially created. That means the requisition has multiple lines, and out of these multiple lines, 2 lines has successfully created requisitions. However, 2 lines are still in approved status. Similarly, if you check this section, we have 2 lines which has successfully created a PO, and we have the third line which is still in approved status. That is why out of 9 lines, the 6 have been processed and the 3 has not been processed. We will create a separate video in order to explain why this happened and how you can avoid this scenario. So this is how you can use the PO auto source process in order to source multiple requisitions into PeopleSoft purchase order. So as we are in the final section of this video, we will see how to perform budget check operation on a purchase order and how to dispatch the purchase order to the supplier. For example, we have one of these requisitions here, and let's check the purchase order. Now suppose we want to perform the budget check and dispatch this purchase order. How to do that? So in order to do that, we need to follow this navigation: purchasing, purchase orders, and then we need to select add update PO. So here we will find the existing PO. We have the PO ID with us, so let's provide the PO ID. And as you can see, the PO is in approved status and it has one item on it. Okay, this is the header of the PO. This will give you high level information such as who is the supplier, what is the amount, what is the PO status, etc. So now the PO status is approved. So let's perform the budget check operation by clicking on this button. So as we can see, the budget status is valid for this PO. And in order to perform the budget check, we can see that FSBP process is run in the background. So now the PO is approved and it has a valid budget. So let's dispatch this PO to the supplier. So if you see, we have multiple dispatch methods available, such as EDX, email, fax, phone, print, etc. So out of these available methods, we can select the one which is convenient to our setup. For example, in this case, let's go with the print and let's click on the dispatch button. Okay, let's select one of the servers in order to complete the PO dispatch. I will go with PSNT. Let's click on save. Let's wait for the process to complete, and as you can see, the process has been completed successfully and the PO status is dispatched. So if you check into the process monitor, this POXMLP, this process is responsible in order to dispatch the PO for the print dispatch method. So in our dispatch method, we had selected print as the dispatch method. So if you want to check the print which was sent to the supplier, you can click on the reporting manager, you can click on the administration, and you can see the PO dispatch PDF with our current date and time. So if you click on this, this is the print version, or this is the print copy which was sent to the supplier. Alright, so we have completed the PO dispatch process. So in this video, we saw how to create purchase order out of requisitions using multiple methods. We also saw what are the staging tables which are affected and what are the main tables for the PO once the PO is created. And finally, we saw how to perform a budget check on a PO and how to dispatch the PO to the supplier. I hope you understood the points. If you have any questions, please feel free to post your questions in the comments below, and we will try our best to answer your questions. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.